Like I said, a lot of great announcements. Sharona posted them in our group. Their IBAN numbers are coming. European licenses are coming. The exchange is coming, guys, where you'll be able to purchase right directly with inside of WEFI. So they are making progress and moving stuff along. And we had talked about, guys, I sent in a list of questions. I apologize. They'll have those questions to me early this week. They are super busy, guys. They are pushing like crazy to get this thing up and running and going. And of course, doing it in an efficient way where they don't have a bunch of waste in hiring, 27,000 employees like most of the banks do. Part of the beauty of Web 3 and being able to start this and move it forward. And I'm going to go back to the example of Web 2. The reason why today Amazon is the largest retailer on the planet, they were not until this last quarter of last year. So the fourth quarter of 2025, Amazon actually became the largest retailer on the planet, right? I'm selling more than Walmart. Up until that point, Walmart had sold more every single month than Amazon had. But that just recently changed here, and the final numbers will come in, and that's what we believe is the course right now, where they're the largest retailer in the world. But it took 30 years for that to happen, guys. 30 years of it being there. But who's created more wealth, Walmart or Amazon? And the answer is actually Amazon has. Amazon's worth 2 trillion. Walmart's worth about $800 billion. Why? Because it's a technology company, and that a lot of this stuff is going to start to shift through Web 3, and we can be the catalyst that starts to shift that in the right direction. And the way we do that is by sharing this with other people, and getting out there. Like I said, go ask. If you have 10 friends who are in cryptocurrency that haven't heard this presentation, go ask them if they know what Web3 is. They're going to say they don't. They only know the digital asset that has helped, that was created through this mechanism. Very few people actually understand that even a Web3 exists. They don't even know that there are founders out there like Reeve Collins that say, hey, if you support my project by simply becoming a customer, then I will share with you in the wealth proposition of that business. And I believe that once we get this message of Web3 out there, that any business that starts will have to be a Web3 company, because people won't have it any other way once they're educated and once they know about the ideas and the concepts of Web3. So if we have any questions, guys, we can answer those real quick. And then I want to talk a little bit about the marketing that we're going to build and how it's going to happen and work. And I'm hoping to have it up and running in the next week, 7 to 10 days. And of course, how you guys can participate in that.
There was a Debbie had asked a question earlier about how many accounts you can have, and I answered it in the chat.
Yeah, there's no limitation to the number of accounts that you can have, right? Just like if I go to Bank of America, they let me open up 20 banking accounts, right? They're simply individual banking accounts that you're going to hold money in. I don't know, unless you have a reason for 20 accounts, I would not say that there's a need for 20 accounts, but I have quite a few accounts, because I have an account for each of my companies that I own and that I'm building. And that's a, good half a dozen or more different companies and stuff that we founded and that we're a part of. So that would be the reason to have multiple accounts is, I would say you would need to have a reason in order to have multiple accounts, or should have a reason at least.
And Mary has raised her hand. If you want to unmute, Mary, and ask your question, feel free, or you can type it in chat.
Yes, excuse me. I was just wondering, where do you post the chats? Is it on Instagram, or I guess I'm not sure where to go to find where you post things besides my email. Is there somewhere else like WhatsApp or Instagram, Discord?
Well, personally, I just post by sending emails to the group, the email list that we have, which is up to 82 people now. I sent that today, and I know you're on that list, Mary, just from recently. We don't have Instagram or WhatsApp. I know there are some WhatsApp channels that are from other groups,
Yeah, but
Peter?
Sharona, you posted this in our Nexus ecosystem, correct?
Yeah, we have a Discord where I always
There you
post
go.
sorry,
Yes. Yes.
Mary, if are you a member of the Nexus Discord? Mary, are you there to answer?
Oh, yes. Sorry. I didn't know it. No, I am not a part of the Discord group. I don't have access to that.
Okay, well, I used to post the link to join the Nexus Discord in the email, so I can make sure you get that and you can join that. I post set up events so that these calls are posted there. I post the recordings and anything related to WEFI, which is the current thing to post there, what's getting posted there. So we'll make
Yeah.
sure you have that. But it's basically the same info that you have in the email. I believe that there are, if you search on Facebook or Instagram, you may see other groups who post information. You take your chance on following other groups. Please do not go to Telegram. I saw in the WhatsApp group, it's a group in Europe, and they're having trouble with somebody posing as somebody else. And just so please
Yeah.
try and
And
stay out of Telegram.
and WeFi does have their own social media guys, but they do rely a lot on Telegram because that's what the crypto space does. But we got away from that because there's too many people that are manipulating and causing problems in Telegram. So we don't recommend that at all. But they do have an X account. They do have some other social media channels that you can become a part of. And again, they do have a Discord, but a Telegram. But we don't really recommend you send people over there. It's just too easy to get frauded and scammed over in Telegram.
Correct. I only belong to whoever my group is. I don't go outside.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm trusting, but I'm not that trusting.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I trust y'all, but not very many
That's
more people.
not outside of this group. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Make
Perfect.
sure
Hey,
you get that.
Ryan, you got your hand
Ryan,
up, buddy?
Hey, Peter. Yeah, I just had a quick question about the Clarity Act. I'm sure you've been following it, where the big banks are lobbying congressmen to pretty much take out the stablecoin yields because it's direct competition to them. So I was just wondering,
Yes.
what's your opinion on that? How's WeFi going to navigate around that?
So it was taken down because the Armstrong, the founder of Coinbase, withdrew his support for it. So it is not going to go through, guys. Luckily there are some representatives out there that actually understand that they're not representing the banks, that they're actually representing us, the people, for it. It's kind of ridiculous that banks could lobby anybody to get them to understand or believe that the best way to serve their constituents is to limit the amount of return that they can get on it. The fact of the matter is banks could pay us way more money. We saw it in the chart, right? $1.2 trillion in profits. And we had done a search a couple of weeks ago about how many HSBC, we looked, how many executives do they have that make over $1 million a year in salaries, right? €1 million actually. And it's well over 500 executives at one bank that make that type of money. So they don't want the competition. So they tried to lobby it. Of course, a lot of the powers that be began to fall for it, and they were actually going to vote it through. But as soon as people began to find out what was going on, it has, it hasn't gone as well as they would like for it to be. I think that's the important reason, guys, for us to go out and talk to people about Web3. The banks, the big corporations, they don't want this to happen. And I'm not saying that I don't know Jeff Bezos personally. I don't think he's probably a bad guy, right? He's probably a nice guy. But he doesn't want to disrupt his wealth creation, right? The way of doing things. Because, I think the saying is the wealthy keep getting wealthier, right? Type of thing. So they don't want this idea of Web3. And remember, Jeff disrupted the entire entire retail industry, not just online. In 1995, Walmart was already a juggernaut company which controlled. They had defeated Kmart, right? Things were moving in the right direction. And without Amazon being created, imagine how much more Walmart would be selling today than it is. So they didn't want that disruption, which is why Walmart in the beginning ignored the internet and allowed for Jeff Bezos to come along. Guess what? There is a whole new slate of entrepreneurs that are coming along. Now, our representatives in the United States and around the world for that matter, they don't understand this. China banned crypto, I believe it was 10 years in a row. Every year they'd come out and say, we're banning crypto. We're banning crypto. We're banning crypto. Why? Because they don't want this shift. And that's the reason why, and this is my personal opinion, guys, the reason why the news media hasn't talked a lot about Web3 is because the news media is owned by corporations, and corporations don't want Web3. They didn't want Web 2 for that matter, right? Because of the change that has happened with social media and people getting news and that type of stuff from other places. But they don't want this change to take place. So in order to do it, they found a villain, something they could villainize, which was crypto. But they don't talk a lot. And that's why most people that understand crypto do not understand. We don't just need crypto rules. We need Web3, right, to be brought to the forefront in order for us to understand that. So I do not believe that those rules will end up getting passed, Ryan. I believe at the end of the day, any common sense person says, wait a minute, if I can pay 18%, then I should be able to pay my people 18% as long as I can do it safely. And of course, the risk factors are disclosed to the founders. We know that stable coins can pay much higher yields than what the banks are paying, because we know that last year Tether made $15 billion in profit. $15 billion in profit. So we know that the margins are there. And again, the banks are fighting it, but I do not believe that they're going to win this battle. And we can be a part of that. Even whether you might be on here and you might be new and go, I don't know about this WEFI thing, but Web3 for sure. Get involved, become a part of it, talk to your friends about it, share about Web3, because at the end of the day, it is better for society. It's better for everyday people. That's my passion right now, guys, is to get as many people to understand. Now we've got to solve the problems, right, of Web3, and that's the reason why we picked WEFI to be the core of what we're pushing and what we're moving towards right now is WEFI, because it solves those issues, and it solves them with a gentleman at the helm, Reeve Collins, who understands Web3. Long before I ever heard of WEFI, myself and my business partner, Doug, we followed Reeve Collins' career, right, all the way through. I mean, he was actually the first person that I listened to a recording of that went into the idea of web. Again, I first found crypto. And at that point, if you would have told me Web3 existed, I would have been like, what are you talking about? I was right where most people are right now. All I've heard is this thing called Bitcoin, right? And there's this new thing called Ethereum. But then again, I listened to a recording from Reeve, and Reeve started to talk about Web3. And I said, oh, that's the participatory economy. That's the thing I came up with 10 years ago. That's it. This all matches together. It all fits like a perfect puzzle. And now we have the vehicle, the way, in order to bring Web3 forward. And then from there. And then, of course, I had my first wallet, and they said seed words. And then, I started going, well, I want to go from this chain to this chain. And it's like, oh my God, that's difficult. That's a pain in the, you know what? And then, oh my God, there's this difficult, this difficult. And then I began to realize that the blockage to the idea and the concept of Web3 really going mainstream was technological difficulties. The search engine had not been created yet. We were still on dial-up, right? Going back to the Web 1 days, okay? And so it took 10 minutes to get online, and pages loaded one line at a time, right? We forget about that stuff. But as soon as those problems were solved, massive people went on the web, and of course it created massive wealth. That WeFi is that catalyst to solve it in the Web3 space, for it to come along and move in that direction. And so we're excited to be able to bring that to people. So yeah, again, Ryan, I don't believe that those rules are going to get defeated, because enough people are pointing out that that is ridiculous, right, to limit that. So I don't think we'll have to deal with that. But again, WeFi will follow the policies of whatever country they're in and whatever laws that they're following in. But again, this is decentralized. It's pretty hard for, I had mentioned China, pretty powerful entity over their citizens, right? And they banned crypto every single year. But guess what? Crypto never left China. Why? Because it's decentralized. They lose their power over the control of it. And the power is put in the hands of the people. And that's actually where we need to head towards and move forward from there. So they may come up with their rules, their regulatory stuff. Again, we'll follow it and do the best that we can. But at the end of the day, people have the power. We've always had the power, guys. We just give it away. Every single day when we go to the store and we buy products and we buy services and we keep, spending our dollars in one direction or another, we're essentially either giving the power away or we're taking back the power. And I think that that's where Web3 and engaging with it and promoting it is how we can move things forward, right? Is by simply getting involved and being a part of it.
Well said.
So guys, I'm going to talk about right now, we're going to build a marketing system. So first of all, I think the absolute best way to build WeFi is just sharing it with friends and family members and all that stuff. So everybody should continue to share with every person they know, because if you want anybody to get involved and be a part of this, it should be friends and family and everything else, especially if you understand the value of Web3, right? So if you haven't shared Web3 with everybody you know, of course you should continue to do that. But I want to accelerate the growth of this thing and move it forward. And so I've been putting a lot of thought into, and of course through the presentations and everything else that we've done here, is that we really need to build a presentation. I'll do the presentation. We're building a whole course around this. I'm actually in the process of writing a book on Web3, and people will get a free copy of the book when they do it. But we will go out and create advertising. It's going to take me about another 7 to 10 days. That's my commitment to get it done by then. And essentially what we'll do is we'll have a presentation. We'll put up ads. I don't have the context of the ads yet, but it'll say, hey, there's this new thing coming, Web3. You can make money just by participating, zero out-of-pocket cost type of a thing. And then we'll run those, and we'll have a seminar that we'll do on, let's say, Saturday at 3:00. And we'll invite people to that seminar, okay? And we'll do the presentation. We'll talk about Web3. And of course, we'll talk about the first vehicle that we're utilizing in order to do that is WeFi. Would you be interested? If you're interested, great. We'll get you information on it. We will then have them sign up for a survey, give us their information that, yes, they're interested. And then I'm going to have WeFi liaisons, Web3 liaisons, who are going to then reach out and contact those people and say, hey, I'm with Peter Gantner on our Web3 thing. We'll probably come up with a name for the group, whatever it is. So ABC company. And then I'm your onboarding specialist. So would you like to get a free account? Would you like to get some ITOs? What would you like to do? And then you will help facilitate getting those people on board. So there will be some costs involved in this. I'll figure that side of it out on that part of it. But the key would be is what we'll need to do is create a list of people that want to be liaisons. Now, here's the key. In order to be a liaison, you must be sharing this with the people that you know, okay? You must be actively building in the community of people that you know. So because part of that is you're already talking to people, you're already driving people in that direction and moving it forward. So if you are, and I didn't talk to Sharona about this, but she'll just give you an email address and you can just say, hey, no form to fill out. I'm interested and participating. There will be some financial costs, guys. I'm going to keep it as low as possible. I'm not trying to make a single penny off this. It'll be for us to run the ads and do that type of stuff. And then what we'll do is we'll just create a rotator, and it's not a lead. It's people that said, yes, I already want to be involved. I want to already be a part of it. And then we'll start getting those leads out to people for you to follow up and get with them. There will be a criteria though, guys. So first of all, you need to be sharing and building this. You need to have ITO units that are mining, okay? At least 250, so you get the commission structure from it. So those are some small criteria that's involved with it. And you must actually follow up with the people. If we're giving people leads and they're not getting back with them right away, and we will follow up ourselves. If somebody doesn't get in within a certain period of time, I'm going to put somebody on calling them, and they're going to and getting in touch with them. And of course, if we call somebody and they say, hey, nobody ever reached out to me, then, we're not going to be able to get any additional leads to you. My goal is to add tens of thousands of people into our community, which will be connected to other community members, and we blaze and build WEFI and go crazy like that. But then ultimately, we come together and pick additional projects that we get behind, and we just blow up Web3 company after Web3 company after Web3 company after Web3 company with the criteria of incredible founders, the fact that they're giving the majority, meaning more than 50% of the value of the company is being given out to community members. And of course, because we would come with thousands, tens of thousands, hopefully hundreds of thousands of people, we would get the absolute best, most value out of it for the members, and then build from there and be able to create. I was telling someone earlier today, I believe that we could create billions of dollars a week in value for our community with this approach. Billions a week in value. And that, of course, I'll get a little piece of it, but the vast majority of it, right? 99% of it will be going out to the community members and being able to build. And again, it's the participatory economy, meaning you must participate in. So it's not the spectator economy, right? So you have to participate. You have to get involved. You have to be a part of what we're doing in order to benefit from it, and go from there. So any other questions, guys? How many people on here are interested in participating with it? If you can just put a 1 in the chat. I've been working with Grok all morning. Me and Grok are talking back and forth and feedback and everything else. And so, again, my goal is to get this done. I do run several other businesses and other stuff, guys. And so I am busy. So it's been hard to squeeze it in. But I just, on my drive yesterday, I made the commitment to get it knocked out, get it done, and put it together. And so I've been working on it all this morning. I'll work on it all tonight. And then we'll get everything else put together. And then, our goal is just to explode this thing. I would like to get to over 1 million people in our network here by the end of this year. So by the end of 2026, have 1 million people that are involved with it, and all of us working on a very narrow common purpose. One of the keys to community and building in the Web3 space is that you need to have a very narrow focus, right? You know how they say that, if a community comes together, you could move a mountain, right? The problem is that most communities, I'm here and I'm going, I want to move the mountain to the left. And Rhonda's like, no, I want to move it to the right. And Dawn's like, well, actually, I believe we should split it into 2 mountains because we would have 2 instead of 1. And then Sharona comes along and goes, well, actually, I like the mountain where it's at. So why don't we just leave it there? And that means that the mountain never gets done, right? So we have one very narrow focus with this community that we're building. And that is to increase the wealth of every single person in the community that participates. That's it, right? What you do with the money afterwards or whatever, have at it, whatever you want to do, right? You want to buy 1,000 squirrel statues, I'm all for you getting 1,000 squirrel statues, right? Whatever that may be that you want to do with it. But we have a very narrow focus. And then we build criteria around that narrow focus. Founders, Web3, needs to be a positive thing for the world, right? Meaning it's creating real value in the world. It needs to have an incredible utility, right? That can help move it in that direction. So under that criteria, with that narrow focus and 1 million people, oh my goodness, guys, it would be
more than
every
that.
day you'd wake up and be able to check and go, I'm wealthier today than I was yesterday. I'm wealthier today than I was yesterday. I'm wealthier than today than I was yesterday. And every person in the community that's participating would be able to do that. So thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hey, I just wonder, Peter, could you highlight the WeFi's relationship with Visa? Don't they have access to the POS terminals, right? So they get a transaction fee. Could you highlight that? Go into more
Yeah.
details about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you guys saw in the video that I played, they actually showed one of the ATM terminals, and they have also POS equipment. One of the gentlemen on the team is an expert in that area. And of course, Roman is an expert in building that technology. So we will be putting out. So first of all, it's a direct relationship with Visa. The vast majority of Visa cards that are out there are done through white labeling type of situations where they don't actually. So the way Visa works is they take a split of the Visa transaction. A portion goes to Visa and a portion goes to whoever holds the license. The vast majority of Visa cards, it's with that second part of it, and they split that fee with whoever they're doing the Visa card with. Ours is a direct relationship with Visa. And that means that Visa gets a portion of it and WeFi gets the portion of it. With WeFi, of course, they've committed to and will happen, right? It's 50% of those fees will be paid back to the community members, meaning you have a Visa card that's not giving you just points. It's actually giving you back cash, not on just what you're using, but anybody that you referred to the network, right? Anyone that becomes part of your referral system, you're getting a portion of those. And of course, if you build a big enough community, it goes beyond just your community to the vast majority, the whole community, where you're getting a percentage of that. That's just all baked into the comp plan there. So we're basically sharing in the revenue that is WeFi is generating from the usage of those Visa cards. They will be putting in POS equipment. They already have it running over in Dubai. So we, as WeFi members, would be able to go to businesses and say, hey, listen, how would you like to take crypto along as a payment system? And we'll be able to put those Visa terminals in there. And if you put a Visa terminal in, you'll not only get it on your network, but anytime that terminal is scanned. So I walk in, I don't even know what WeFi is. I don't know anything. I've got a traditional Wells Fargo Visa card, and I scan it on that scanner. You will actually get a percentage. The business will get some of it, guys, as well. So one of the avenues to get the businesses on board is that they'll be able to sign up their customers, their clients into WeFi, so they'll be able to turn their credit card processing into a revenue source for the business. But also they would get a percentage of the revenue from that. So it's a revenue share where the community's getting the revenue, the terminal people are getting part of that revenue, and you as the salesperson that put that equipment in would get a percentage of that revenue. So a very cool setup there to where you can turn that into an additional income source by helping and putting in the equipment. That's not available in the US yet, but we figure, second quarter of this year, those things will start. ATM machines, terminals. The determining a factor of when that happens, first is regulatory, but second is us having enough people in that country to support the system, right? One of the smartest things you can do in business is go, we're going to wait till we have enough customer base in order to roll out that segment of it. And that's part of what we're doing right now. We've already brought on 755 people ourselves, through our community into this. The vast majority of those, probably about 500, are here in the US. Our goal is to turn that into 5,000, 50,000, so we can roll out the ATM machines, the terminals, all that stuff as soon as possible, once the regulatory stuff is in place and everything is moving in the right direction.
Beautiful.
All right. Yeah, Jeffrey, I don't know. That's all the stuff we'll get here pretty soon is when the POS, there was, again, the announcement that they put out. Sharona, can you read the announcements to everybody so they have them of the announcements that just went out?
Okay, so the note that WEFI has been investing heavily in European local licensing and infrastructure for full compliance as a DO bank. Number 2, which is of interest as well, 30% booster ITOs for those who stake for 5 years will soon start including 30% more ownership shares for those who stake for 5 years on all new ITO purchases. Banking suite will be rolled out soon. That will include IBAN numbers for fiat deposits. Energy is going to become more and more active as new services are rolled out. Stay tuned. The WEFI crypto exchange is close to being rolled out, in which we will be able to purchase WFI tokens directly. And a summit is coming in September of 2006, location to be announced.
And for those of you that say, hey, I'd love to find out what's going on in that summit, we don't have a deal in place yet, but I assure you that will be done in the metaverse. So
Oh,
you'll be able to attend from wherever you're at.
That would be awesome. That's why the metaverse exists.
Going to be awesome. That is going to be awesome.
So I just reread number 2 to myself. So because when you get 30% ITOs, when you purchase new ones, you don't get 30% more shares at this, or certificates right now.
Yes.
You only get shares for what you purchase. So that's exciting to get 30% more
incredible.
certificates
Yes.
on all new ITO purchases.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going to send out another email today. And I'll copy this information, and I will include today's replays. But I think especially this after call party replay is really more important to get today for people while it's fresh.
Drew, you're probably on how do you get on the mailing list? Sharona, you want to put that? And then Mary asked, how do I see more about the comp plan?
You can go to dobanking.tech, and there's a tab on there that says comp plan. You can click on that, and that shows you the comp plan on the ITO part of things. And then there's also a comp plan that lists out the revenue share on the banking fee side of things, which is basically right now based on the Visa cards, on the initial purchase of them, and then the monthly as well. But the rest of the banking fees will follow suit in the same way. Yeah,
and the dobanking.tech link is in the emails that I send out. It is a great resource, not just for the comp plan, which is up at the top, but they're always adding new videos, etc. And you can have things in different languages. This is it here. Thanks, Peter.
There you go. And then you can go to the tokenomics. You can also click here on comp plan, and then it has the 3 income streams. It gets into some ITO purchases, what you're doing, and then there is the comp plan on the ITO side. And then so that'll give you that part of the comp plan at least there. Okay.
Yeah, and there's videos on for homepage there, and you can select different languages.
Yeah. Okay. Neat part is this is a global opportunity, guys. So you can anywhere, people around the world, and different services will roll out at different times. Some sooner in Europe, some sooner in Asia, some, as we get things moving along. So you can build a global business and benefit from everything that's happening everywhere around the world as this continues to roll out. All right. Everybody have a great Saturday. I got to get back to work.
Yeah. Peter, will you get back to work?
This was a fun break, fun entertainment time.
It was a great call. Thank you. Thank you, Peter, for part A and part B. Part B was, I think, Sharona, your email this afternoon will be read from start to finish with great attention after this call. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
See you Monday.
Thank you.